Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Today, we are coming to you virtually from Convocation Hall at the University of Winnipeg, but our program will proceed similarly to how it would if we were together in person. We encourage you to participate with virtual congratulations and cheers on social media using the hashtag #UWinnipegGrad and through the live chat function in Zoom. We will begin with the invocation led by the Reverend Tanis Kalisnik, Student Life Academic Advisor. Reverend Kalisnik will be followed by Indigenous Knowledge Keeper Alison Cox, who will provide a blessing upon this ceremony and upon the graduates.
Thank you for the invitation to be part of this wonderful moment. An invocation is a good way to end a journey you have completed and bless the start of new pathways forward. Even though we have all been in a time of flux and uncertainty, we have learned that the opposite of fear is love in our care for each other and our collective efforts. It has been through grief that we have found gratitude. We have embraced hope, and in turn, this has enabled us to act and build forward. You are amazing students. You are about to become graduates from an institution that values diversity, embraces wonder and curiosity, and seeks out new ways to engage in this complicated world. You are an example of hope, courage, and light. And in these testing times, you have helped us all to strive to be the best of beings. And for this, we all say thank you. You have been surrounded by your family, friends, UAW professors, teachers, and staff. And for these supports, we say thank you and well done. I would like to invite you to join me in a moment of prayer. Creator God, known by many names, today we celebrate the accomplishments of each of these graduates. May the God of hope be with you every day, filling your life with love, joy, and peace. May the God of justice speed you on your way to bring light and hope to where your path will take you. May the God of healing free this earth from fear, freeing us for peace and commitment, clearly focused on a world restored and human life renewed. May the God of wisdom and courage be with you, helping you to embrace new opportunities, where you will use your skills, determination, and discipline in each new endeavor. Thank you for the legacy of excellence here at the University of Winnipeg, and guide these graduates in their present and hold them close in their futures. Amen.
Buju, anje kwenea sendes nikas, makwado dem, mikisudo dem, zagamak onjidu. Miigwech gichimanitu, miigwech nakomas, miigwech mishomas, shoea mishnamin, minitu bematezoen, gimant duyan, gakiamin shinang, miigwech. Thank you, Creator, grandmothers and grandfathers. Bless us, give us new life to have respect for what you have given us. We are your creations. Guide us, protect us, love us as we love. We look towards our colleagues on this honorable day. We give thanks to them for their accomplishments. We thank them for their courage, their commitment, and their determination. We see their strengths and their challenges met with equal sacrifice. We ask that the Creator help bless them, give them new life, and protect them as they forge new paths and dreams for our collective future. We thank the educators and staff for their work and time spent with the care they have shown towards our collective goals. Creator, bless us so they will know to respect for what has been given to us. Creator, bless ourselves so we will know our responsibilities. Creator, bless the youth so we will remember that love is the only way. Miigwech, Pimatisuan.
It is now my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Wayne Iwasko, Minister of Advanced Education, Skills and Immigration, who brings greetings on behalf of the province of Manitoba.
Hi there. I'm Wayne Iwasko, Minister of Advanced Education, Skills and Immigration with the province of Manitoba. Thank you for inviting me to participate virtually at the 118th Convocation at the University of Winnipeg. I would like to acknowledge that we, here in Manitoba, reside on Treaty 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lands, which are the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. On behalf of the Manitoba government, Premier Brian Pallister, and my colleagues at the Manitoba Legislature, I am pleased to congratulate the University of Winnipeg class of 2021. I would also like to express my sincere thanks to Dr. James Curry, Interim President and Vice Chancellor at the University of Winnipeg, and faculty for inviting me to take part in this tremendous virtual event. To the spring class of 2021, you have demonstrated dedication and resilience and have shown amazing adaptability in adjusting to learning in new ways during the COVID-19 pandemic. I would also like to thank the faculty and staff of the university who have had to pivot and adapt in order to guide you through this unprecedented time. The fact that we are here today celebrating the achievement of graduates is a great example of our collective ability to persevere through great adversity. In planning for the future of our province, we all have a collective role in creating a positive legacy and building a resilient society for a post-pandemic world. As you embark on the next chapter of your life, you enter the workforce as highly trained professionals with the skills, talent, and knowledge to be an integral part of Manitoba's economic, social, and cultural growth. Wherever you go, go with all your heart. Now more than ever, we need to work together to protect Manitobans, support health and safety, as well as Manitoba's economic recovery. We will get through this together. As the saying goes, be bold, be courageous, be your best. Happy graduation. I hope you take the time to celebrate your hard-earned achievement with family, friends, and fellow graduates. You are the future of our province, a future that is full of possibilities. I wish you all the best and continued success. Thank you very much.
It is now my pleasure to welcome to the podium Dr. James Curry, Interim President and Vice Chancellor of the University of Winnipeg.
Good morning, and welcome to the University of Winnipeg's virtual convocation. We acknowledge that we are gathered on ancestral lands on Treaty 1 territory. These lands are the heartland of the Métis people. We acknowledge that our water is sourced from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation. I begin with this significant acknowledgement to recognize the influence the land we are located on, its history, its present, its peoples, and its relationships must have on everything we do. Madam Chancellor, distinguished guests, members of the graduating class, families of the graduates, colleagues and friends of the University of Winnipeg, I have the honor to declare open this 118th Convocation of the University of Winnipeg for the conferring of degrees in education, kinesiology, physical and health education, and marriage and family therapy. At this point in the program, I would usually have a list of people sitting on the platform to introduce to you. Our platform party typically hosts a number of university faculty, students, and staff who have made significant and worthy contributions to our institution. Today, however, I am joined by our Chancellor, Ms. Barb Gamy, and Registrar, Mr. Colin Russell, who will perform their usual roles throughout the ceremony. Convocation is a special time at the university. It is a time when we honor our graduates, bid them farewell, and celebrate their accomplishments. It is also an occasion to give honors to members of the university community, students and staff and faculty who have made significant and worthy contributions. And it is a time when we award honorary degrees to those who have demonstrated exceptional leadership, helping to define and shape the principles and values which give meaning to our community. An honorary degree is the highest honor the university can bestow on an individual. Those who receive an honorary degree demonstrate dedication and unparalleled excellence in their field and have been nominated for consideration for this title. Today, we honor Dr. Patricia Parker with an honorary Doctor of Laws. Dr. Patricia Parker will be introduced by Dr. John Roberts, the John H. Scully Professor of Economics, Strategic Management, and International Business Emeritus at Stanford University, and conferred special honors by our esteemed Chancellor, Ms. Barb Gammy.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Dr. Patricia Parker, who will receive an honorary Doctor of Laws degree. For more than 40 years, Dr. Parker has been a dedicated and innovative educator, academic, scholar, and author. Her ties to the University of Winnipeg date back to 1962, when she enrolled at United College as an Isbister Scholarship winner. She was a truly remarkable student. She sang in the choir, did lots of other extracurricular activities, served several terms as class president on student council, eventually being elected Lady Stick, the highest position open to women in those benighted days. And she won every single scholarship for which she was eligible. She graduated from the University of Winnipeg in 1967. After receiving her MA in English at the University of Toronto, Dr. Parker taught for 3 years in Tanzania as a CUSO volunteer, first for the Ministry of Education and then as a lecturer at the University of East Africa. She then came to the US and completed a PhD in comparative literature at Yale, and from there returned to the University of Toronto, where she taught for 11 years. In 1986, she was invited to Stanford as a visiting professor, and she has been a permanent professor here in the English and comparative literature departments since 1988. She holds the Marjorie Bailey Professorship in English and Dramatic Literature. Dr. Parker is the author of 4 books: Inescapable Romance, Studies in the Poetics of a Mode, Literary Fat Ladies, Rhetoric, Gender, Property, Shakespeare from the Margins, Language, Culture, Context, and Shakespearean Intersections, Language. She's also the co-editor of 5 collections of essays covering criticism, theory, race, and cultural studies. Professor Parker's first book on the romance was drawn from her dissertation. Its impact is especially broad because it inspired David Lodge when he was writing his beloved novel, Small World, an Academic Romance. When Professor Parker and Professor Lodge met, he told her that not only had her book taught him everything he knew about the romance, which he then used to construct his book, Her jacket cover photo. When they met, he told her that not only had her book taught him all he knew about the romance on which he based his own book, her jacket cover photo was his model for one of the central characters in the book, Angelica/Lily. Known as one of the most original interpreters of Shakespeare, Dr. Parker's Shakespeare from the Margins placed her at the center of Shakespearean studies after insisting his language must be interpreted from diverse perspectives, including race, religion, sexuality, and gender. University of Winnipeg English Chair Brandon Christopher said of Dr. Parker's third book that it cemented her reputation as one of the most important and insightful scholars in Shakespearean studies. While her fourth book is dazzling in its clarity and in its ambition, taking the reader on a seamless exploration of both the specificity, taking the reader on a seamless exploration of both the specificity of language as it was used in Shakespeare's plays and the complex web of culture out of which that language emerged. Dr. Parker has made it her mission to bring literature to those outside the university by organizing public festivals and working with students to create performance-based programs within the community. Most notably, she's the originator and editor of the nearly 2 million word Stanford Global Shakespeare Encyclopedia, which will be launched in 2021-22 as an open access online resource for students, scholars, and the public. This is truly an amazing operation. A sought-after speaker, Dr. Parker has lectured all over the world, from France, Germany, and Spain to Australia, New Zealand, and the Czech Republic. She's also been a Gauss seminar lecturer at Princeton, was a Shakespeare's birthday lecturer at the Folger Shakespearean Library, and was named a Northrop Frye Professor in Literary Theory at the University of Toronto. Madam Chancellor, I request that you confer upon Dr. Patricia Parker an honorary Doctor of Laws for her contributions to a generation of students, her masterful scholarship, and for her championing the place of literature inside and outside post-secondary institutions.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor of the University of Winnipeg, I admit you, Dr. Patricia Parker, to the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges thereto pertaining.
It is now my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Patricia Parker to address our graduates from her home in Stanford.
First, I want to thank the University of Winnipeg for this extraordinary honor. I've been following with interest the important work that the university has been doing, including its innovative Community Renewal Corporation, which I've also heard praised on American television as a model for all universities. And I am deeply honored to be included in a group with Sandra de la Ronde and Thomas Denton, besides whose crucial work on human rights and social justice. Anything I may have done as an academic pales in significance. Secondly, in case this is not generally known, there are 3 of us from the same years in the 1960s at United College who are faculty at Stanford. My longtime friend and prior recipient of an honorary degree, John Roberts, whom I've known since grade 11, and with whom I was involved in the United Student Council for our year, and also Charles Prober of the Faculty of Medicine, who was a few years behind us. I am also very grateful for this honor because United College literally changed my life and gave me a sense of what I could usefully possibly do with it. To give you a sense of why United was so life-changing for me, I'll start with a couple of anecdotes from my earlier years. In 1946, I was born into a family of gifted athletes, of which I was the only klutz. And I not only failed, but spectacularly flamed out at all of the sports they enrolled me in. Until, at age 12, in a gigantic indoor pool in Saskatchewan, I actually won a race. And it felt so great to hear the resounding shouts from the audience, until I realized a few seconds later that what they were shouting was, "Touch the end." Then, the year after, I almost failed home economics in a downward spiral that began when I forgot the baking powder in the baking powder biscuits. It was the 50s. I was a girl. There was clearly no future. When my family moved to Winnipeg in 1960, when I was 14, and joined a class at Churchill High School, from which I still have very close friends, the first thing that changed for me was the first time I was able to see live theater at the Manitoba Theatre Centre, now the Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre, including works like Brecht's Mother Courage, but also major Shakespeare productions. Something that for me, for the first time, brought Shakespeare alive. I, by the way, started out hating Shakespeare because we had to diagram Hamlet for months in 9th grade in my last year in Regina. But the major change in my life was due to United College, where I was from 1963 to 1967, and where I had truly extraordinary professors like Walter Swayze, Shakespearean Robert Halstead, and others, including Alice Hamilton, who in my first English course floated into the classroom in her academic gown and began by reading us an amazing 16th century poem by Thomas Wyatt called "They Flee From Me That Sometime Did Me Seek," at the end of which all I knew was that I wanted more, and that this is what I might someday perhaps do as well. When I also learned at United that there was something called a PhD that could make it possible for me to be able to teach one day myself, I applied when I graduated from United in 1967 to the graduate school in English at the University of Toronto to do first a one-year MA and then hopefully a PhD. This, however, involved another turning point that also changed my life in a way that was also impacted by my years at United, which impressed on all of us the importance of global as well as local commitments and engagements with issues of social justice and diversity. In 1968, after graduating from United a year earlier, I had completed that one-year MA in English at Toronto, and I was planning to apply to do a PhD there. But then an advisor informed me that in his opinion, women were not cut out for PhDs. Advice that was lamentably not just given out in those years at the University of Toronto. So I applied instead to volunteer overseas with CUSO, Canadian University Service Overseas, about which I had also learned at United And I was fortunate enough to be sent to work as a high school teacher and then as a university lecturer in Tanzania, in East Africa, at a time when Tanzania's brilliant president, Julius Nyerere, was translating Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice into Swahili, after he had already translated Julius Caesar into Swahili years before. Nyerere's Swahili title for Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice was Mabepari wa Venisi, which means the capitalists or bourgeoisie of Venice, in a way that reflected a critical awareness on his part that was decades ahead of its time, and a title that implies that the Venetian society of the play as a whole was capitalistic in its tendencies, in contrast to the baleful history of anti-Semitic readings of this play that at that time privileged the Venetian Christians above vilified Jews. The 3 years that I spent in Tanzania, from 1968 to 1971, when I taught as a lecturer at the University of East Africa, at a time when several of my students were refugees from Uganda in the wake of the recent coup by Idi Amin. My time in Tanzania was spent not only learning Swahili, an amazing language that combines Arabic, English loanwords, and local dialects, but I was also given in my early 20s an opportunity to live in a city in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, which means in Arabic, harbor of peace, that had a largely Muslim population. And I was also able to live in a neighborhood where all of my neighbors were from different parts of Tanzania. Those years also gave me, in my early 20s, an education in what the history of colonization, only recently ended for most African countries, had wreaked, including when I met the grandfather of one of my students whose leg had been torn off at the knee by a British guard dog. And I was able to travel to Nairobi by bus one year, which had been a direct colony of Britain, unlike Tanzania, which had more indirect British rule, and seeing in Nairobi women in the blistering heat wearing white-colored nylon stockings with their faces marked by the spots resulting from the application of bleach. For this reason, though it may be assumed now to be more difficult these days than it was in the 60s, I find myself hoping that my students will choose to do work and gain experience somewhere elsewhere in the world. Being at United and living in Winnipeg in the 1960s was how I also learned of major issues impacting First Nations, Indigenous, and Métis communities, including the issue of band rights for women. And it took me back to an experience in Regina that I had had in grade 2, when the teacher took us to the RCMP museum to see what was claimed to be the rope that hanged Louis Riel. And we wondered as 7-year-olds how on earth she expected us to identify with the British rather than with the man they had hanged. So it is particularly an honor for me to be in a group this year that includes Sandra de la Ronde and her crucial work on issues affecting First Nations, Métis, and Inuit communities and Indigenous women. So I would like then to say a few words about my current work at Stanford as editor of the Stanford Global Shakespeare Encyclopedia, which is an almost 2 million word long open access teaching and learning resource that will be released online in 2021-22 for free to anyone with access to the internet. It's almost 5,000 entries from around the world, repeatedly engaged with issues of race and racism and the diversity of contemporary productions. And it also has major entries on Indigenous adaptations of Shakespeare in Canada and in the US, but also in other countries, including Australia and New Zealand, where the entry on the film, The Maori Merchant of Venice, was written by a contributor who is himself a Maori Shakespeare scholar, an activist, academic. I've been particularly fortunate as the editor of this encyclopedia, not only to learn more about productions at the Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre, which I had first benefited from in the early 60s, including the Theatre Centre's 1995 Hamlet, starring Keanu Reeves, who, as you may know, continues to identify as a Canadian, and who personally sent us a photo of himself in that role. And I've also, as editor of the encyclopedia, have been able to learn more about recent productions at the Stratford Festival in Ontario, which has provided us with dozens of color photographs of its now more radically diverse, racially diverse 21st century productions, in contrast to its almost all-white earlier history. But I have been especially fortunate to learn about Canadian Indigenous and Métis productions and adaptations, including the transformation of Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar into an adaptation called The Death of a Chief, which was written by Yvette Nolan, a Métis playwright who was born in Saskatchewan and grew up in Manitoba. In her adaptation of Julius Caesar, The Death of a Chief, the chief is played by a warrior woman, and band rights and other issues impacting First Nations and Métis women are directly engaged. This entry is in addition to entries that we've received from Native American Stanford graduates, James Lujan, who is now a filmmaker and playwright from Taos Pueblo, who teaches at the Institute of American Arts, and Stanford grad Merton Runningwolf, who is a PhD graduate from Theater and Performance Studies at Stanford, whose academic writings have appeared in Amarinda's Talking Stick and in Native Appropriations, Critical Perspectives on Hollywood's Indians. These two Native American writers have given us entries on Native American adaptations of Romeo and Juliet and Native Hawaiian adaptations of Shakespeare's Comedy of Errors, but also a memoir entry that he calls, in quotations, Real Indians Don't Do Shakespeare, which is based on what he and other Native American actors have been told at interviews and auditions. And I learned about all of this important work on Native American adaptations of Shakespeare from Teresa de Framboise, who is in the Faculty of Education here, but is also the Stanford Director of Native American Studies, who is on our Encyclopedia Advisory Board. Finally, I'd like to tell you a little bit about other entries in the Stanford Global Shakespeare Encyclopedia. One of them is on hip-hop Shakespeares, including the British rap artist Akala, the founder of the Hip Hop Shakespeare Company in the UK, who goes around to schools teaching the interconnections between Shakespearean verse and rap verse. Other entries on rap Shakespeare include the Q brothers in Chicago, who do what they call ad-raptations of Shakespeare. And these include Funk It Up About Nothing and other adaptations that have won international awards. The other kinds of entries in this encyclopedia include social justice issues. And the homepage for the encyclopedia is going to have over 200 central images rotating in turn that showcase the racial diversity and global diversity, as well as time diversity through time periods of the encyclopedia itself. So for example, by the central image of Nelson Mandela to the left on the homepage, users will see the entry link on Nelson Mandela and on South Africa, and also the entry on the Robben Island prison in South Africa, where Mandela was imprisoned and famously signed his name beside lines from Julius Caesar on cowards dying 1,000 deaths, but the valiant only once. The other thing that the encyclopedia does with regard to race is it chronicles the racist history of Blackface performances, including the tradition for centuries of having Othello played by white actors in blackface. And this includes Sir Laurence Olivier in blackface in a truly execrable production that was shown when I was in Tanzania in the late 60s, when the audience, quite understandably, walked out en masse. Beyond that, and issues of social justice around the world, there are entries on Islam and Islamophobia, on Jews and anti-Semitism, on the Harry Potter series, on disability studies, and on Latino and Latinx adaptations, as well as Spanish and English bilingual productions. But I will end here. All I want to say to you all is the very best of wishes for your future, and may you have many adventures to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Parker, for sharing your insight and knowledge with our graduating class. There are several faculty and staff awards that we celebrate at Convocation dinner, which typically takes place prior to the Convocation ceremony. We celebrated these award recipients at a virtual reception earlier this week, but would also like to take this opportunity to publicly acknowledge and congratulate one of them today. Andrea McCluskey, recipient of the Stars of Spence Street Prize, for her exemplary leadership, generosity, compassion, and tireless advocacy on behalf of Indigenous students. Congratulations, Andrea, and all the other awards recipients. We have now come to the part of the program that our graduands and all who have tuned in have been eagerly anticipating. The registrar, Mr. Colin Russell, will present the graduates, and our chancellor, Ms. Barb Gammy, will confer the degrees. Each graduate will be introduced, and a slide of them will be shown on your screen. This is a rite of passage, a joyful occasion for our graduates and for the family and friends who have helped them on their way. As you see your graduate on the screen, I encourage you to share congratulations in our virtual chat and on social media.
Madam Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate, I request that you confer upon these candidates receiving degrees in absentia the degrees for which they have qualified.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor of the University of Winnipeg, I admit all those receiving degrees in absentia to the degrees for which the prescribed studies have been completed with all the rights and privileges thereto pertaining.
Madam Chancellor, I now beg leave to present the graduates. The graduates of the Master of Marriage and Family Therapy degree. Maria Cabas. Chelsea Ewald Bradley. Receiving Graduate Student of Highest Distinction, Sonia Lynette Gottsman. Jocelyn Lavich. Carmen Rochelle Okmatovsky. Frances Snyder. The graduates of the Post-Baccalaureate Diploma in Education. Leah Elise Anderson Gregoire. Cora Michelle Bell. Kenneth James Benson. Andrea Catherine Beavis. Daniel Patrick Joseph Bohemier. Marley Ray Bragg. Noah Joshua Kane, Christine Marie Caligiuri, Sarah Renee Cantlin, Lori Ann Curry, Amanda Leanne Dolman, Janessa Page Delorme, Corey Joseph Claude DeMarchuk, Taylor Jordan Downs, Sarah Ducharme, Semina Irami Aval, Vanessa Fontaine, Quincy Morgan Gardner, Jeanette Michelle Garland, Kaylee Ray Henriksen, Heather Christine Krieger, Sylvie Gemma Laflèche, Kyle William McCartney, Sherry Nadine Mooney, Claire Beverly Neufeld, Vanessa May Parisian, Kelly Lynn Patrick, Belrajdeep Kaur Riat, Stephanie Ann Ringer, Nicole Mireille Roche, Nicole Danielle Rutledge, Michelle Ann Rybuck, Alberta Dawn Self, Sophia Shazad, Jessica Jane Smith, Pamela Lynn Sturzer, Daria Alyssa Sywak, Natalie Trudeau, Natica Warmington, Aubrey Ann Windsor. And now the recipients of the Bachelor of Education. Hope Taylor Aaron. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts as well, May Abdallah. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Amy Lynn Adair. Biodun Basret Admeo. Carl Daniel Alfaro. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Cara Janae Allison. Hannah Muriel Elizabeth Anderson. Receiving the Bachelor of Science, Lindsay Dawn Anderson. Receiving the Bill Gadsby Pre-Service Teaching Award, Eric Allen Anderson. Receiving the Bachelor of Physical and Health Education, Tatum J. Apsit. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Jordan Lynn Arnal. Sukhmandeep Kaur Alec. Joshua Thomas Balzer. Brianne Elizabeth Bartel. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Angelica Nicdeo Bartolo. Tiana Louise Beaudry. Haley Morgan Beerens. Also receiving the Bachelor of Physical and Health Education and the University Silver Medal for the second highest standing in kinesiology 3-year program, Isaac Corey Zimberg Bellin. Kimberly Benedicto. Michal Berenstein. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, David Scott Bayette. Jennifer Nancy Bileski. Receiving the Bachelor of Physical and Health Education, Sydney Lynn Borlaise. Ali Borowski. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Yasmin Judith Busseri. Britt Dawn Braid. Sukhdev Singh Brar. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Ian McLean Brereton. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Emma Dale Bretisher. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Tegan Elise Bretisher. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Kayla Megan Taktu Bruce. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Luca Amadeo Burrows. Receiving the Bachelor of Physical and Health Education, Joshua Castillo Toledo. Maria Christine Cesario. Receiving the University Silver Medal for the second highest standing in education, Justin Peter John Charlton. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Kayla Ray Dawn Chartrand. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Tanisha Virginia Chartrand. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Matthew James Melinsky. Brinna Megan Clark. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Kelsey Catherine Jacqueline Copeland. Nyla Jean Cottrell. Receiving the University Silver Medal for the second highest standing in education, Margaret Sylvia Cox. Maggie Blair Davidson. Tegan Olivia Davies. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Aileen May Cabrera de Claro. Receiving the Bachelor of Physical and Health Education, Taylor Elaine Shelia DeCaney. Shay Leanne Demke. Justin Derlego. Receiving the Bachelor of Science, Navdeep Kaur Dhaliwal. Dale Tamir Diamond Burchuk. Also receiving the Bachelor of Arts and the Gold Medal for Achievement in a Major 3-year in French Studies, Lindsay Elizabeth Dirksen. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Alexandra Amelia Jean Dudick. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Tessa Lynn Starr Dunitz. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Kylie Jean Dunlop. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Carly Yvonne Dupuis. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Holly Diana Dick. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Haley Danielle Enns. Receiving the Bachelor of Physical and Health Education, Sarah Michaela Steiner Ermet. Heather Eileen Fast. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Kira Ann Feely. Chantal Nicole Camilo Fernandez. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Raina Page Flett. Stuart Charles Fleury. Tara Wanda Fontaine. Madison Heather Foreman. Kira Ray Garrigan. John Robert Gardner. Receiving the Bachelor of Science, Christopher Dale Gerbrand. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Alicia Lovell Gonzalez. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Jenny Lynn Gregg. Valerie Grenier. Receiving the Bachelor of Science, Ryan Benjamin Gritter. Mary Grace DeVero Gunio. Receiving the Chancellor's Gold Medal for the highest standing in education, Mamneet Kaur Gurm. Kelsey Julia Catherine Haldorson. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Christoph David Hasselfield. Also receiving a Bachelor of Science and the Gold Medal for Achievement in a Major 3-year in Mathematics, Morgan Marie Haw. Gillian Rigsby Hedden. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Nicole Herman. Daniel Herpay. Also receiving a Bachelor of Arts and the Gold Medal for Achievement in a Major 3-year in History, Gloria Christine Hebert. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Eliza Crizel Ann Hippolito. Lisa Ellen Hawking. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Taryn Leah Hum. Megan Cora Hunter. Daniel Frederick Hussey. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Kendra Isfeld. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Kishan Sushil Jan. Sarah Jane Jansen. Receiving the Bachelor of Science, Joanna Kathleen Jimena. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Rebecca Grace Neufeld Johnson. Garrett Stephen Keith Jones. Deepa Ann Joseph. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Julie Jessica Joel. Bolanle Stella Jude Oj. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Caitlin Valentine Calabanca. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Mackenzie Haley Kennedy. Receiving the University Silver Medal for second highest standing in education and this morning's valedictorian, Kane Kiddell. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Taylor Ray Collodi. Chloe Hannah Cornelson. Jesse Craig Kuick. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Justine Maria Labossière. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Caitlin Elizabeth Laurie. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Luciana Lazo. Cassandra Marie Lemon. Dana Allison Linton. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Mariana Sabatina Laconte. Carter Lysak. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Aaron Spencer Madden. Kathleen Whitney Megas. Victoria Hope Mallow. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Christopher Denzel Marr. Courtney Darlin Marcinishin. Alena Darla Mark. Julia Matujak. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Melissa Anne-Marie Marion Kleinsasser. Caitlin Ashley McCormack. Caitlin Elaine McCormick. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Alice McKay. Tanya McKay. Rachel Margaret Meiklejohn. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Matias Cristina Pacheco Melo. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Martika Kim Merriman Sheffer. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Reza Lynn Millette. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Jessica Misiak. Madison Anne Marie Mislawchuk. Mason Alexandra Mitchell. Melissa Ann Molchenow. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Bailey Page Moreau. Shelby Renee Mutton. Kristen Renee Miska. Receiving the Bachelor of Science, Jessica Lynn Neuendorf. Kira Alana Neufeld. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Brittany Elizabeth Newman. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Nicole Novak. Adenike Bintu Odewale. Kyle Christopher Owens. Tanner James Owens. Miguel Oliver Palma. Encarlene Panello. Rebecca Ann Pearson. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Corey Ann Penner. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Ainsley Alma Ann Perrin. Jaden Alexander Pollock. Adina Lil Gladys Prito. Crystal Dawn Pruden. Receiving the Bachelor of Physical and Health Education, Jamie Lynn Quirant. Jane Marie Regier. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Leona Elizabeth Reimer. Vital Paul Renaud. Receiving the Bachelor of Physical and Health Education, Kyle Alexander Ribeiro. Eva Marie Riddle. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Samantha Forsyth Robertson. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Adam William Rush. Denise Nicole Samoniego. Shannon Ray Serras. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Anthony Michael David Schick. Receiving the Bachelor of Science, Dana Samara Schumacher. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Samantha Marie Schwab. Receiving the Bill Gadsby Pre-Service Teaching Award, Isabella Seward. Receiving the Bachelor of Physical and Health Education, Jenna Lee Shackleton. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Bianca Joy Hebert Shepherd. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Caitlin M. Chupania. Receiving the Lost Prizes Scholarship, Jonah Reuben Simmons. David Thompson Harris Sims. Rubla Singh. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Avathea Dolly Slavic. Daniela Stahl. Carlene Marjorie Stefaniak. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Alex Ray Stevens. Receiving the Bachelor of Science, Benjamin Michael Leon Stevens. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Kayla Chanel Storemans. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Terry Lynn Louise Strong. Receiving the Bachelor of Science, Sophie Jane Theodoro. Jacqueline Elizabeth Thompson. Claire Marie Tompkins. Caitlin Elizabeth Torchia. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Gemeli Torres. Tracy Lynn Trottier. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Annika Lynn Van Heusen. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Cameron Noel Vergi. Siba Wahabi. Lindsay Ann Wall. Kayla Dawn Wallman. Emily Roseanne Warren. Alexa Sidney Werrimy. Receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Sarah Faye West. Caitlin Willow Weens. Alisa Ashley Ann Wirch. And now the recipients of the Bachelor of Arts in Developmental Studies. Patricia Isabel Atienza. Rayan Isam Ayash. Cheyenne Emily May Crompton. Jasmine Elizabeth Dewick. Annabelle Evangelista. Receiving the gold medal for achievement in the major in 3-year developmental studies, Sydney Lynn Gerbrandt. Samantha Brittany Milne. Nofisat Monsunmola Adelekun. Kandra Ann Rabu. Danielle Jane Ruggedin. Helena Quintus Ramaldis. Carol Ann Steinhoff. And now the recipients of the Bachelor of Science 4-year degree in Kinesiology. Cody Daniel Bartel. Curtis Robert Beck. Felicia Nicole Azevedo Borges. Adam John Boychuk. Megan Sarah Marie Dybert. Emily Ann Ducharme. Rebecca Michelle Friesen. Madison Page Fivey. Sarah Nicole Graham. Aaron Santiago Hidalgo Mazzi. Nick Lichty. Receiving the University Silver Medal for the second highest standing in kinesiology, 4-year program, Alexander Jonathan Joseph Lowen. Joshua Joseph Bernard Martineau. Kira Aubrey Putnam. Christina Charisse Race. Madison Alexandra Region. Marina Amelia Rose. Mathieu Aaron Thomas Sawatsky. Emily Annika Thiessen. Alexander Torreson. Ashley Ann Van Berkel. Blake Graham Wall. Yu Hong Wu. And now the recipients of the Bachelor of Kinesiology Honors degree. Ashley Nicole Gwindon. Kieran Gordon Lionel Rackenrud. Receiving the University Silver Medal for the second highest standing in Kinesiology Honors, Mandy Jo Kathleen Stratuliak. Receiving the Chancellor's Gold Medal for the highest standing in Kinesiology Honors and the Gold Medal for Achievement in a Major Honors in Kinesiology, Sarah Michelle Tellis Langdon. And now the recipients of the Bachelor of Kinesiology 4-year degree. Zach Cole Carpenter. Samantha Jessie Chula. Vladislav Dumozirov. Receiving the Gold Medal for Achievement in a Major 4-year Kinesiology, David Dorning. Isaiah Jonathan Edwards. Felipe Enrique Ferreira. Lucia Golubich. Caroline Barbara High. Kiara Lee Hymander. Ersosa Faith Izevbukun. Deandra Alicia Jonason. Joshua Connor Colden. John Leo Masanke. Keisha Ray Dawn McCutcheon. Cassidy Shea McGowan. Shayla May McMillan. Alicia Dawn Palmer. Lorenz Partido. Marikar Porcioncula. Catherine Jane Schönborn. Taylor Jane Allison Sitch. And now the recipients of the Bachelor of Physical and Health Education degree. Larissa Elizabeth Fiorina Aiello. Elizabeth Ashley Albert. Cesario Jr. Bermudez. Jordan James Bernshine. Simran Kaur Brar. Jesse Burak. Andrew Cabral. Receiving the Gold Medal 3-year in Physical and Health Education, Jordan Dale Campbell. Janet Georgine Mikhail Ditter. Dimitri Vincent Gray. Taylor Larissa Gray. Sarah Marie Hale. Jessa J. Jordan. Damini Mahajan. Also receiving the Bachelor of Arts, Gregory Caleb McConts. Vanessa Millions. Adriano Luca Montanino. Richard Padua. Receiving the Chancellor's Gold Medal for the highest standing in kinesiology, 3-year, Alexa Ryan Palansky. Amit Sharma. Megan Lynn Watinen. The Spring 2021 class of Marriage and Family Therapy, Education, and Kinesiology and Applied Health.
Thank you, Madam Chancellor and Mr. Russell. Graduates, You just crossed a virtual stage surrounded by cheering faculty, staff, family, and friends. We will continue to cheer for you as you go on to achieve great things and make an impact on the community in your own unique way. I now have the pleasure of introducing your deans, Dr. Lorianne Helston, Dean of Education, Dr. Doug Goltz, Acting Dean of Kinesiology, and Dr. Mavis Reimer, Dean of Graduate Studies, who will share congratulations on behalf of all faculty and staff.
Welcome to the 2021 Spring Convocation ceremonies. My name is Dr. Lorianne Helston, and I'm the Dean of Education. It is my very great privilege to bring a congratulatory message to you on behalf of everyone in the Faculty of Education. To our education graduates, you are not alone. There are 236 fellow graduates this spring. 205 students are graduating with their Bachelor of Education degree, and an additional 31 students are graduating with their Post-Baccalaureate in Education. But that's not all. The Developmental Studies program officially became part of the Faculty of Education this past term. So for the first time ever, 10 students are graduating with their Bachelor of Arts in Developmental Studies from the Faculty of Education. Congratulations on achieving this significant milestone in your own personal journey. Congratulations must also go out to your parents, families, friends, and supporters who are celebrating alongside you today. We are all very proud of you. Who expected when you began your journey at the University of Winnipeg that your Convocation celebration would be so special and yet so different from past practice? Although we can't gather together to see you receive your parchment in person, there is no doubt that your remarkable academic achievements deserve to be recognized. Regardless of whether you are receiving your B.Ed, your post-bac, or your B.A. in Developmental Studies, we have all chosen to be educators because we want to make a difference in the world. We thrive on learning, for ourselves and for the students we teach. Never forget that you may be the only reason a student goes to school every day. As teachers and early childhood educators, you have chosen one of the most rewarding and important careers in society. You will be challenged in ways that test your resolve and commitment. You will be pushed beyond what you know, what is familiar, and what is comfortable. But I know you will take these challenges in stride. How do I know? As a Faculty of Education student graduating in this 2021 Spring Convocation, you were unexpectedly challenged by the COVID-19 pandemic, and yet you persevered. You successfully completed your program during a time when the world was not functioning normally. You successfully shifted to online learning, virtual practicums, flipped schedules, and physical distancing. Your determination to complete your degree during these tough times has demonstrated that you can adapt to what life may throw at you in the future and still be incredibly successful. Graduates from the Faculty of Education at the University of Winnipeg are change makers, influencers, advocates, mentors, and role models. Now more than ever before, I encourage you to embrace these characteristics and forge ahead with confidence. Use the skills and knowledge you obtained at the University of Winnipeg to empower others. Stay resilient, build resilience in others. Stay strong. Share your strength with those you teach and those you work alongside. Pursue your dreams without reservations. Inspire others. Get involved and embrace leadership opportunities. You are ready for what lies ahead. To quote the writer Mitch Albom when describing his professor, coach, and teacher, have you ever really had a teacher? One who saw you as a raw but precious thing, a jewel that with wisdom could be polished to a proud shine. I encourage you to be that teacher for your students. Congratulations on your convocation and best wishes as you move forward as a University of Winnipeg graduate. I wish you all a safe, joyful, and prosperous future.
Hello, everyone. My name is Doug Goltz, and I'm the Acting Dean of the Gupta Faculty of Kinesiology and Applied Health. It is an honor to participate in this year's convocation and a pleasure for me to share part of this day with you. First, let me begin by saying congratulations. Completing your degree was no small feat this year, and I could not be happier than to share my thoughts with you today. This past year, you've participated in a large-scale experiment called remote learning. This was a test, and all of you passed. But it wasn't easy. And I'm sure there was plenty of uncertainty last summer when registration began for you. Some of you may have experienced anxiety when your choices for courses were synchronous and asynchronous. Believe me, if you were feeling anxiety, I can say with confidence that many of our course instructors were feeling the same way. In fact, I can say with confidence that I too felt this way. The added challenge for many of our students in our kinesiology and athletic therapy programs was the need to offer some of our practical lab work in person. Working closely with expert staff in the University of Winnipeg, we figured out the best way to offer our programs, like moving our lab sections into a very large classroom in Lockhart to maintain social distancing. Incredibly, our scheduling people also figured things out, and classes began in the fall. There were bumps along the way, and some frustrating moments for students and faculty when software misbehaved or computer screens froze. But we managed. In fact, we did more than manage in the Gupta Faculty of Kinesiology and Applied Health. We excelled. Of course, there were many highlights this year, but here are a few that I think are worth sharing. First, our remote workplace and classroom certainly changed the format of many of our activities, and our highly successful Connect Week in November was no exception. I had the pleasure of attending this event, which included research presentations from our own faculty, as well as two outstanding keynote speakers, Dr. Ben Schellenberg from the University of Manitoba and Dr. Bettina Callery from Cape Breton University. Well done to the organizers and presenters for this event. The Gupta Faculty of Kinesiology and Applied Health is proud to offer two of its programs that are accredited by external bodies. Our Bachelor of Kinesiology program is accredited by the Canadian Council of University Physical Education and Kinesiology Administrators, CUPICA. Our Athletic Therapy program has been accredited since 1999 by the Canadian Athletic Therapists Association, or CATA. Late this winter, we were paid a visit by executives from CATA for our reaccreditation. It wasn't easy to do this work remotely, but the opportunity to talk about our program and reflect on our activities was well worth the effort. Congratulations to our faculty and staff for getting this achievement again. Finally, this spring, I had the pleasure of attending remotely the inaugural Bachelor of Kinesiology honors thesis presentations. This was a remarkable achievement of both our faculty, who supervised the work, and our students, who successfully completed their research projects while working remotely. Yet another example of the resilience of our professors and students in our faculty. Overall, we got through our school year reasonably unscathed. It wasn't perfect, but we did our best. You rose to the challenge and persevered. It was a struggle at times, but you adapted, and today you can say that you have succeeded. You are graduating. Well done, class of 2021.
My name is Mavis Reimer. I'm the Dean of Graduate Studies at the University of Winnipeg. It's my very great pleasure to bring greetings to all of the graduates of our master's programs on behalf of the faculty and staff in Graduate Studies. We are proud of each and every one of you. You have completed advanced studies in a variety of programs and disciplines. In professional programs, such as marriage and family therapy, that have prepared you for entry into a specific occupation. In social, historical, and theoretical studies, such as criminal justice, that have given you the opportunity to think deeply and carefully about particular institutions of our society. And in experimental studies, such as bioscience, that have seen you researching questions about the natural world and testing possible answers. All of these studies share the qualities of having given you considerable command of the subjects you have taken up and considerable independence in charting your own course through those studies. As students in the Faculty of Graduate Studies at the University of Winnipeg during the COVID-19 pandemic, you deserve special recognition for having completed your programs in the midst of these turbulent times. While we cannot be together in each other's presence, as we typically are for this celebration, your commencement comes at a time when we believe that our society and institutions will reopen imminently. As you step out into the post-pandemic world, our hope is that you will use the mastery you have earned through your studies to make a difference in the various fields into which you will now move. I hope, too, that you will carry the sense of belonging at the University of Winnipeg with you. Please keep in touch. Let us know what you are making of what you have learned. And congratulations.
Thank you, Deans. Next, I would like to introduce Judith Newman, who brings a congratulatory message on behalf of the University of Winnipeg Alumni Council.
Congratulations, class of 2021. As president of the University of Winnipeg Alumni Association, I am pleased to offer my congratulations on behalf of our association to the graduating class of 2021. Your hard work and dedication have culminated in this very special day, and I'm so happy to share in your excitement and proud to acknowledge your success. Today marks not only your graduation, but your membership in the University of Winnipeg Alumni Association. You will join our alumni family of over 56,000 individuals who have shared a common turning point in their educational lives, the invaluable experiences of being an important part of this unique urban campus. Exactly 50 years ago, I felt the same excitement on becoming a part of this great community, and I am still proud to remain an integral part of it today. The University of Winnipeg campus community was an important support for you during your school years. By becoming an active member of the Alumni Association, you can remain connected to and supportive of the University of Winnipeg and its students. Going forward, we hope that through the Alumni Association, you will maintain and enhance your professional and community affiliations. One of the more exciting initiatives that our Alumni Council has been working on with our university partners this past year is how to achieve and enhance alumni engagement. Nothing is more important to us than reaching out, getting to know, and working with our alumni. The last few convocations like this one did not allow us to meet you in person and proudly hand you your Alumni Association pin and membership card, but we will ensure that as soon as the campus opens up, we'll find a way. In the meantime, we have endeavored to reach out to you via many different social media sites, email, and our e-newsletter. We have been offering our speaker series via webinar and have an exciting lineup of potential speakers for our 2021-22 year. Please stay connected with us so that you do not miss our programs, and feel free to contact our alumni office with ideas on how we can do more for you, our alumni. We cherish your input and the long-lasting relationships that will result.
On an occasion such as this, it is also important to hear from the students. It is, after all, your day. And so I would like to introduce you to your valedictorian, Kane Cadell. Kane envisions his future classroom as an inclusive learning environment where all students are empowered to thrive. He spent his early 20s facilitating skateboard camps in Winnipeg's inner city, an experience that fueled his desire to become a teacher. During his time at the University of Winnipeg, Kane worked in Dr. Ed Clutis's C-tape laboratory, where he excelled as a research assistant. In this role, he engaged in field research locally and internationally, and was first author on a research article in the Journal of Geophysical Research, as well as co-author of research articles in Icarus and the Astronomical Journal. Now, ready to embark on a career at the head of his own classroom, Kane will carry lessons from his memorable experiences at the University of Winnipeg forward to a new generation of students. Please join me in welcoming Kane Cadell.
Good morning, Chancellor, President, Deans, faculty, family, friends, fellow graduates, and the slew of audio technicians required to make an online graduation possible. My name is Kane Cadell, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to represent this historically profound group of graduates. Before I begin, I'd like to take this opportunity to dedicate this honor to my mother, Jacqueline, and my uncle, Mike, who both passed away this year. Without their unwavering support and their encouragement, I would not be the person I am, nor standing in front of you all on this momentous day. As most of you know, writing a speech and presenting is a daunting experience. And not to my surprise, it was even more daunting when the speech had to be for our entire graduating class. Therefore, I hope that my words hold true and represent our graduating class's collective academic experience. If not, my sincere apologies. With that said, I think it's fair to assume that there's not a person in this room who believes this year has been easy to navigate. Between the constant COVID-19 uncertainty, tragedy amongst families, economic instability, lack of social interaction, and the expectation to pivot to new policies and mandates on what seems to be a daily basis, we all had enough reasons to throw in the towel and quit. However, we didn't quit. We are here, and nothing, not even a global pandemic, can shake this graduating class's stout-hearted resilience. The resilience demonstrated by this graduating class is not innate. There is no amount of preparation that could have readied us for this experience. It is through hard work, determination, and persistence that we made it through this year. We have demonstrated what the Cowboys like to call true grit, and for that, we should all be proud of ourselves. Today we celebrate graduating individuals from the Faculty of Education, Theology, Kinesiology, Physical and Health Education, and Marriage and Family Therapy. A common thread that emerges from each of these faculties is the requirement of having a compassionate heart. Of course, I can only speak from my own experience in the education department, but what I can tell you is that it takes a lot of compassion for us as students to serve as volunteer frontline workers in a global pandemic. The health and safety of the staff and students have become trivialized and politicized over and over again. The circumstances are drastic enough to make anyone question their career choice. However, we are still here because whether your dream was to work with students, athletes, couples, or families, our compassionate hearts drive us to help other people. Another common characteristic that all university students acquired over the last year is the ability to adapt. After spending nearly a decade at the University of Winnipeg in the presence of peers and instructors, it's hard to switch to online learning and begin navigating the new social reality. Here are the two most important things I learned from online learning. One, you can increase the speed of the pre-recorded lectures and turn that hour into a 20-minute-esque chipmunk rendition of the lecture. And two, breakout rooms are a free and excellent source of therapy. You spend about 10% of the time doing what you're supposed to and 90% of the time venting about life circumstances. We are able to create spaces for each other's well-being, and that is something I will always cherish. Considering I'm addressing the province of Manitoba's future educators, I'd like to take this time to discuss the regressive and heedless Provincial Bill 64, also known as the Education Modernization Act. The bill has created a learning environment that is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. The proposed system-wide changes lack evidence for supporting positive educational outcomes. Divisional autonomy is one of the most effective supports we have for responding to the needs of individual communities. As new teachers, we are marching straight into a battle. I'm going to ask you to raise your voice against this bill and raise it loud. In closing, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the individuals whose guidance and support made this journey possible. Thank you, Deb Willishin, and the rest of the education faculty who worked tirelessly to make sure we received our teaching certification. Thank you, Dr. Edward Clutis, Dr. Jeannie Kerr, and Dr. Lloyd Cornelson for your continuous support and inspiration. Thank you to my advisors, David Zeinenberg, Chandra Reddy, and Matt Myers for making this year unforgettable. I'm so proud to have made the friends and acquaintances I have throughout this program. A special thanks to Rob Garner and Sarah Jansen for your educational and emotional support. Lastly, I'd like to thank my fiancée, Nicole, my family, and my friends. None of this would have been possible without you. Class of 2021, I'm so sick of writing and presenting speeches. If it's not too much to ask, please take your resilience, your compassion, and your adaptability and go make the world a better place. Congratulations, you magnificent people.
Thank you, Kane. Graduates, on behalf of all the faculty and staff who have supported your time at the University of Winnipeg, congratulations. It is a privilege to be here to celebrate with you today. For the second year in a row, we are hosting our ceremonies virtually. While I'm disappointed not to be able to congratulate you in person, it is fantastic to welcome the many families and friends tuning into this celebration from near and far. You have a strong community surrounding and supporting you. Your teachers, classmates, parents, family members, and friends have all played an important role in your education. They have stood by you, encouraged you, and inspired you to push through the long hours of study. And they will continue to celebrate your success wherever your next steps take you. As we celebrate Convocation, we also recognize some exceptional individuals. I feel lucky to work with such a diverse and dedicated group of people who are so committed to ensuring students succeed. Today, we've recognized Andrea McCluskey, whose commitment to ensuring every student that walks through her office door achieves their full potential has had a huge impact on student success. And Kane Cadell, for going above and beyond to make a difference. I'd like to extend warm congratulations to our honorary degree recipient, Dr. Patricia Parker, whose masterful scholarship includes championing the interpretation of Shakespeare from diverse perspectives, including race, religion, sexuality, and gender. Winnipeg is a close-knit and is committed to outstanding academic scholarship, research excellence, and community engagement. These individuals embody this commitment. Winnipeg has a strong reputation for graduating leaders whose knowledge reaches deep and wide. Thanks to our Indigenous course requirement, each of you has been introduced to perspectives and worldviews that'll help you understand and engage in the important work of reconciliation. You have learned to think creatively, solve complex problems, collaborate, and communicate effectively with people from diverse backgrounds. I encourage you to approach the unknown with courage and curiosity. You have what it takes to make meaningful contributions that have a far-reaching impact. I've spent many years coaching judo. This has taught me a lot about the power of willpower and discipline. In judo, you learn to carefully observe yourself and your situation. You train yourself to have a clear mind, to examine your options fully and act decisively, to take the initiative to do what needs to be done. Over the past few years of university, you will have similarly been involved in a daily practice that has trained you for your future. You honed your work ethic, learning to think critically and solve problems, sometimes on little sleep with deadlines looming. You learned the discipline of compiling research papers, navigating group projects, and preparing for difficult exams. Now you've reached an important milestone. You're graduating in a time of rapid technological change. Maybe you don't always feel equipped for some of the complicated issues we're facing in the world today. I'm here to tell you, you've got this. While keeping focused on your goals and completing the last year and a half of your degree during a pandemic, you've shown your capacity to navigate the road ahead. The foundational, transferable skills you've developed give you a solid foundation to manage complexity and bring change into your chosen field. The knowledge, insight, and friendships you've gained here will serve you well in decades to come. On behalf of the University of Winnipeg, congratulations. There are great things ahead for you. Please join me in a warm round of applause for all our graduates. Today's ceremony would not have been possible without the many members of the university community who helped organize this event, including our media and video services teams for helping us to come to you today, our convocation officer, Kylie Stasla-Tiryan, and the records team for ensuring you received your parchment and all the details for today's event, our registrar, Mr. Colin Russell, and our distinguished chancellor, Ms. Barb Gammy, for their contributions to today's ceremony. Thanks to everyone for joining us today. We wish you all the best in the next chapter of your life and hope you keep in touch with the university. We will close with a traditional honor song sung by Alison Cox, followed by the national anthem sung by our registrar, Mr. Colin Russell.
O Canada, terre de nos aïeux, ton front est ceint de fleurons glorieux. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Et ta valeur, deux fois trempée, protégera nos foyers et nos droits. We stand on guard for